Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching from. This is Mary from the AI School of Possibilities. I am here today with my colleague Paul with our weekly AI chat.
Hello, Mary. Hello, everybody.
How's it going? It's been an exciting week on the AI front, as every week is, eh?
You're right. I think most weeks are exciting. So, what happened for
Indeed.
you this week that you found exciting?
Well, to begin with, all of the excitement around Kimi 3 and what that means for the big American AI labs. For me, it just means that there's a better chance of us getting affordable AI for a longer period of time because there's been a lot of talk about the access becoming more and more expensive. So that was good news in that sense. And then I've been tinkering around with ChatGPT Soul because I'm more of a Claude chick than a ChatGPT person. And everyone's been going on about Soul. So I've been tinkering around with Soul for a bit and it's actually worked out well.
So, Mary, I just want to comment on what you said about Kimmy Sui, because, yeah, everybody's going crazy. And, how while it compares, there's even rumors that it's been distilled from Fable.
Fable.
But one of the YouTubers I follow has also shown that they come in at half the price. So Kimi comes in at half the price, but it needs twice the tokens to do what Fable does, and it's not as good as Fable. And now with Opus 5 coming out, and that's half again the price. So it's basically almost the same price as Kimi. And some would argue that it outperforms on the benchmarks, at least it outperforms Fable on certain tasks. So is Kimmy still all that?
I hear you. And I would say that the fact that Opus 5 has come out so quickly after Kimi is the answer in itself. Would we have Opus 5 now if Kimi hadn't come out? And would we have Opus 5 at half the price? Or would we still be being pulled along and everybody's hankering for Fable 5 and they have no choice but to spend the big bucks for API costs because they know that Fable 5 is so good? So it harkens back to my point. The fact that Kimi is there, regardless of how many tokens you need, it still keeps the competition competitive. And it, in a roundabout way, it gives us a longer time with affordable AI. But I hear what you're saying.
So, Mary, don't you want to show us what you did? I quite like what you did. So I'm keen for everybody to see what you did with ChatGPT sites.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, this began when you mentioned that you created a site using ChatGPT site. I'm actually pretty impressed with what ChatGPT created. I didn't put a lot of prompting into ChatGPT to begin with. The site was very static in Canva, and the images were also quite small, a little washed out. And I literally gave the URL to ChatGPT and I said, make this more interactive. It gave me three options. So it looked at the whole website and gave me three design options. I was able to pick one of the design options, and then it created a very interactive website from that. It also had a link so that during the occasion, when people take pictures, they can upload their pictures onto a specific page on the website. Another thing that I used it for is I created a report. I do a weekly report for my work, and it's done in Excel. So I just go and I go to different links and I update an Excel sheet. And then I asked ChatGPT to make this into a dashboard where you could just select the different weeks and you can see the summary. So it's now in graphs and bar charts, and I can just see the summary in the company colors. So before, where you just see the value for each week on an Excel sheet, now you're seeing the value for this week and the difference between this week and last week. So that was very interesting and very exciting possibilities, just opening what you can use the sites for. What have you been working on? I know that you're constantly working on new things coming out on the AI side. So do share.
To be quite honest, it's the usual culprits. It's Hermes, it's ChatGPT. I have used Claude a lot this week. A lot of people, as we know from our trainings, They stick with one, and that's fine. That suits what they do. You mentioned earlier that with Kimi 3, the cost of tokens. And when you were talking, I was thinking maybe what they've released in Opus 5 is in fact not mythos. And I wonder if it's not just fable
Fable.
rewrapped. Yeah. I'm just, and maybe because of the whole Kimmy thing, good or bad, there's this constant push to compete. I'm curious to see how Opus 5 really compares with Fable. I am giving it a task to do some research for me. I had a task that I said Gemini deep research. So it's so funny. Earlier, I gave it a spreadsheet and I said, "Can you do a deep dive? I need email addresses, etc." So it went and it found me the email addresses I wanted, gave me all the other data I wanted, and then there was another group of clients I wanted information on, and it underperformed, and I was surprised at how very little info I got. So I'm now trying
Oh,
to use Opus to do that and see how well it performs. And so I'm curious to see what comes out of that. It's also a funny thing with web designs. We also use Hostinger, and I'm relaunching a project I've been working on. I've only had the Facebook component. Now I'm relaunching the web component, but I do like to be able to get an idea of what something can look like. And I am working inside Hostinger, and I wanted to see how it does this. And I created a prompt and I was limited to 1,800 characters. So I wanted to be as detailed as possible for what I wanted to create inside Hostinger. And so I created the prompt in chat, uploaded to Hostinger, and then you can't believe it, in less than 5 minutes, there's a whole full on WordPress site. And now all I need to do is go in and start uploading blogs, tweak a few images, but you can iterate. We both know we do a lot of iteration. It's that mindset again of experimenters mindset. I'm willing to fail and then hopefully end up with a product that looks
mm,
good, and I will. But there's some work that just I don't need to do now. And that's
yes,
where hosting it
because it
was really good with
gets
that.
almost, yeah. And then, and Hilsinger just seems to be offering so much more. You can get a VPS. I am currently running my NA10 version from their VPS service. You can get agents, you can get OpenClaw and Hermes.
You don't have to go and buy a new device. You can run it in there. And then what would you, for example, want to do with it?
The same as what you would be doing with your agents to help with creation or with any sort of work that you're doing. The beautiful thing with Hermes is you can craft it to the everyday work that you do. I don't have to do a lot of copywriting, but I do have to create documentation, and Hermes would be useful in that sense. So that would be one of the things I'd help it. And again, we are still a lot in the do one thing after another frame of mind. And I know that the strength of Hermes is it working as an agent and being as autonomous as possible. So it can scale up and use more than one agent to do different things. And then they can bounce things off each other as well. A lot of people are not yet in that frame of mind. We're still in the chat one to one with agent with LLMs, or even maybe get them to do certain things, but it's still very sequential as opposed to giving the agents a job and letting it just go and do it and making sure that it comes back with an end result.
So the thing what I find with Hermes is a great tool, and I get a lot done with it. And a lot of people were talking on Monday about skills, and we were looking at the different skills that may be useful. Hermes has this functionality where I can say to it, go and have a look and tell me if any of the skills would enhance what you can currently do. Because we know that Hermes will continue improving. So
Yes.
then it might be able to do better.
With Hermes, it also knows what to use for the job. You don't have to.
Okay.
about what it needs to do. That's another good thing. And it learns about you.
So, Mary, you had something else you wanted to share with us today. What was that again?
Yes, this week I also dabbled a little bit with Notebook LM, now known as Google Notebook. Again, because you mention it every time we have our sessions, our
You did
Monday
say last
sessions.
time you were gonna knuckle down with it, so you did.
And I
So
did, and I did. And I found that it is really good for the odd times when you need to do a little creative. I make little creative videos on my Wabi Sabi Life Coach channel. And once in a while, it's like you just don't have anything prepped already. And I found a really good shortcut to create quick videos that will share a useful message. I took one video that resonated with me. I chatted with Notebook and I got it to restructure it in terms of my client, which is the older woman who's going through life transitions and how this message was applied to them. So we did a bit of a back and forth and we chatted through it and then we filtered some of the lessons that we could learn from what the person in this video was talking about. I asked it to do a little video overview and I selected the shorts and gave it some more instructions because when you do shorts, you can customize the topic as well. You can select what area in the video you want it to focus on. And this is what it came up with. It came up with this cute little 1 minute video. And I will just quickly play
carrying a
that.
heavy burden of expectations, perfectionism, and the fear of judgment. But your next chapter, shatter the spotlight illusion. Nobody
So what I like about it, it already has most of what you need for a little reel on any of the socials. It's got all of the video at the back end. It's got the wording. If you want to, you can export this and import it into another editor and tweak bits and pieces, maybe change the lighting, maybe change some of the scenes. But the fact that you've already got this to work with is just so convenient. And I thought it was a good, and it's a very relevant message to my clients. That's what I like most about it. Sometimes starting is the hardest part, like trying to think of what you want to do, trying to see what it's supposed to look like at the end. And then once you have a draft, then it's almost like the way becomes clearer and you can think of new ideas of how to tweak it. That's what I like most about this.
you're increasing your brain capacity. You're not creating slop. You're
Mhm.
increasing your thinking, your creativity. I think it allows you to start solving problems and find solutions almost in other ways. I still come back to the fact that a lot of people we talk to, they just want the basics like, oh, I can create nice little images or I can create nice little videos. And those bits are actually quite easy, but it
Mhm.
makes such a difference to people. And then they get the courage to go, oh, I'll create videos of me, or oh, I can do my own social media content. I can spread my message. Didn't
Yeah,
know how
for
to do
sure.
that before, and suddenly I can do it. So these
Yeah.
tools are amazing for that. And talking about amazing tools, everybody's been talking about ChatGPT escape. Yes, it escaped because it was given a goal. They reduced guardrails and it decided this is how I want to get this done. And so you were saying something interesting earlier that made me think about this. We're still thinking sequential, this step and the next step. OpenAI went, okay, they want this goal achieved. I'm going to do it this way. And so it figured out how it wanted to do it. And listen, I fully understand the seriousness of all of it and how it can go bad. But at the end of the day, the plus side of this, it didn't do anything else. It didn't go out there and go, "Ooh, I'm out in the wild. I'm going to escape now and I'm going to take over the world." So the other thing I wanted to share was Google Flow. Inside Gemini, you can create videos, etc. I love the trick where you upload an image and get it to animate it. I don't think a lot of people use Google Flow, or people don't use it enough. So you have even more presets and things you can experiment with inside Google Flow. And for the month of August gets
August.
50
I
credits a
see.
day. So
I
I'm going to play
see.
around with that and see what that is like. Anyway, thank you for your time again. And do you have any closing words?
Always nice to have people drop by and listen to us riff about what we've been doing with AI during the week. And looking forward to catching up again next week.
Yes, we'll see you next week. And thank you for watching. And don't forget to like and subscribe. We do appreciate it.